piece sorted, shape sorted. What am I saying? I had to sort all the pieces. Hey Puzzle Buddies, welcome back to my channel. A few weeks ago when I went to Nationals, I went to a booth in the vendor section, and the booth was from MindQuest Puzzles and Games. They had a bunch of stuff at their table actually, but one thing that caught my eye in particular is that they had a whole bunch of like mystery puzzles in little sacks, and y'all know I love me mystery puzzle, so I grabbed one and I thought it would be perfect to do a blind date with a puzzle. So here we are. This is how the puzzle came in the package, okay? It was just in like a plain like mailer envelope. The only clues were that it was 500 pieces and it was Princess Tiana. And I love Princess Tiana. So I picked it up because I figured this would be fun. If you're new here, Blind Date with a Puzzle is a series where typically my husband picks out a puzzle for me, and usually I don't know how many pieces it is. I don't know what brand. I have no idea what the theme or what. I have no clue what the picture is going to be like. I just have a bag of pieces and my husband's foolishness, and I just do the puzzle. This time I didn't know that it was 500 pieces, and I didn't know the general theme would be Tiana, but that's all I knew. I still did not know what brand it was going to be or any idea about what the image was, so I still thought it could count. So getting started, I pulled the pieces out of the bag, and they came in just like a Ziploc bag because it still was a mystery. It didn't come with an image or anything. So I pulled the pieces out, and actually as I was getting the bag together and trying to get my life together, I was like, these pieces feel really light. Like the bag feels really light. So when I was first going into it, I was like, oh, maybe this is a 300 piece puzzle, not a 500 piece puzzle. But then I looked at the bag again, and no, it said 500 pieces. So I was like, okay, this is strange. This is a 500 piece puzzle, but it feels a little bit too light for 500. So that made me think this might be a bit of a cheaper brand, which that's not necessarily an issue, but I was starting to get a little bit nervous. So then as I pulled the pieces out of the bag, I said, oh no, this is a Seiko. I can tell a Seiko puzzle when I see one. They have a grid cut, but their pieces are like very rounded. I don't know how else to describe it. So as soon as I started looking at the pieces, I said, yeah, this is a Seiko. And I am not a fan of Seiko puzzles. So I was already like, okay. And then as I was doing my full flip, I saw a corner of pieces because I had a bunch of like sections that were still stuck together. And I had one little section of a corner that was a signature. And whose signature was it? Thomas Kincaid. It was a Seiko Thomas Kincaid puzzle. It was like literally everything that I don't like in a puzzle. I was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe it. So I just had to get started. I ended up pulling together like these brighter yellow pieces because those stood out the most. And then I tried to work on these like darker blackish greenish pieces with these red bits because they look like flowers or something. And then I was just kind of working from there. But y'all, I just could not believe that this was the luck I was having, because a few weeks ago I posted a video of me doing the 631 piece, all solid gold Ravensburger Krypt puzzle. And in that video, I mentioned that because that puzzle was taking me so long, I was going to take a break, do something a little bit easier, so that way I would have a video to post for that upcoming week. And this was the puzzle I was referring to. I thought that this was going to be a nice, quick little 500 piece puzzle I could just do in like one evening. I could just do it, make my little commentary, get it posted, be done with it. No, this puzzle took me much longer than just one cute little evening. Okay, it took me 2 evenings, and I think I worked on this puzzle for like 3 or 4 hours each night because I was making very, very slow progress, y'all. In fact, this video is sped up a bit more than I usually would. I didn't want to cut too much out because I think that's kind of like the fun of doing a blind date with a puzzle, is like really kind of seeing it start to come together, seeing like how your mind is working and trying to figure out where things go. So I just kept as much footage as I possibly could, and I just sped it up really fast because I was not taking forever. I wasn't taking 5 ever. Okay, I was taking 17 ever. I was spending so much time on this puzzle, but let's just get back into it. So as you can see, not much has changed from when I started talking about the puzzle until now. I did those brighter yellow pieces, and then I kind of usually like to save doing the actual like princesses or like the main characters towards the end. But at this point, I just went ahead and did them at like right here because I just needed to make some progress. So I did Princess Tiana and Prince Naveen, and then I had made some progress on those like black and red flower situations. And I saw these like steamboat pieces, so I started to do that. But I wasn't really getting anywhere. I ended up pulling out the border pieces and started making some progress there. But then I had just a whole bunch of like dark green slash black pieces, and I didn't really know where those were going. So I did some of the border and then I just kind of abandoned it and started working on other things. I started looking for more of those like steamboat pieces and trying to pull more of like the greens and things, but I really wasn't getting anywhere. Then I was working on like the purples because I realized that the purples like the sky or whatever's happening up top. And I did get a little bit further there, but not by much. So then I came back, and I think this is the next night at this point. And as you can see, after a full night of working the day before, I've done like practically nothing. One thing that was really like confusing me is that I could not figure out how the pieces, how these different little islands of pieces, how they all connected. Like I could not figure out what the final image was supposed to be. So that was also throwing me off because like I had flowers here and I was like, okay, do these flowers attach to those flowers? There was like some like they looked like either fairy lights or like maybe they were the lightning bugs or something. And I couldn't figure out where they attached to the puzzle. So that was the other thing that was slowing me down, was just trying to figure out what goes where. So I just had my YouTube video going or like a documentary or something, and I was trying to work, and then I finally kind of figured out that the um like the skyish parts of the steamboat kind of connected to Tiana and Naveen. So I ended up pulling those pieces and making those separate islands into one big thing, which felt really, really good to get that done. And then I just kind of kept going from there. I tried to work more on the sky, wasn't making much progress. You know what? No, I remember now. I worked on it the first night, and then I came back the next like afternoon. I think maybe granddad had baby or something, and so while he had our son, I worked on the puzzle some more, and then I came back that same night. So I spent when I say a lot of time, I mean a lot more time than I was planning to on this puzzle. So when I came back in the evening, I ended up working upside down. So I was like, okay, maybe if I work from a different angle, I'll be able to see things differently, see things better, maybe get a better idea of what's going on here. So I started working upside down. That's why you see my hands on the other end of the table. And I did make some more progress. Now I was looking at this like top sky section with these, I figured out there was starting to be trees. And so I was getting somewhere, but not really. And then I ended up like just shape sorting everything that I had left. All the pieces, I kind of had grouped them by general color scheme, but everything had to just be color sorted because I couldn't do it. Not color sorted. Well, color sorted and piece sorted, shape sorted. What am I saying? I had to sort all the pieces, okay? And then I finally was getting somewhere. I finished the sky, which ended up being like the sky and like a tree with some like vines hanging down from it. And then from there, I was just trying to do my best to put a piece in a place. So I was getting that top sky done, and there was like another tree or more of the tree or something. And then I was starting to get some of the border a bit more together. And then I realized that there was like another tree. And yeah, was working through that. The steamboat, I finally kind of figured out most of the pieces. There was a bit more going on off to the right that I couldn't quite figure out. Um, and then the water was another issue that I had because I just couldn't find the pieces. I just couldn't figure out where they went or how they went or what was where. And the sky was like weird colors because it was reflecting off of like the rainbow-ish gradient in the sky, and it was also reflecting off the steamboat. So there's a lot of colors that you wouldn't quite expect to be the water. So I was just kind of randomly finding those places here and there because I had sorted them all in completely different sections. And once I had finally gotten at least most of the top section done, I ended up coming back to the regular bottom of the puzzle and trying to work from there. Because at this point, I had most of the top done, but I still had a whole bunch of the bottom left. So I kept working on those like flowery bits. I was getting really confused because I think like the piece shape was kind of weird. Well, not weird, but just like trying to figure out where the rounded bits lined up with all these different little flowers. And I wasn't sure if it was one section of flowers or sometimes, there would be like two sections on the image of the same type of flowers in two different places. So I kind of thought that that was the case for a while, but no, it's just one section of flowers. I just couldn't figure out where they were going. I kind of got that figured out, and then I figured out where the like the image is kind of not strange, but kind of weird because it has the like human versions of Princess Tiana and Prince Naveen, and it also has them in their like frog versions, like in the same image. So I'm like, I'm not sure how they're quite existing at the same time, but I figured out that they went in the corner. And then I had some other green bits that I wasn't sure what they were, but I realized that they went to Lewis, the alligator or crocodile, whichever one he is. And then I finally got the borders together, which was kind of hard because again, it was mostly just like dark green slash black. Also in the video, I turned up the saturation a bit just so that the video would be like easier to watch and like more enjoyable for you to look at. But in person, the pieces were not quite this vibrant. So that was the other thing, is that it was a bunch of just kind of like dark, vaguely colored pieces. And it took a while to figure out where things were going. But I finally got to the end, was getting to those last few pieces, and then I realized I was missing a piece. And y'all, I tore this room upside down. Since I did this puzzle, I also got a brand new puzzle table. So I completely moved out that other table, moved in this one, I've cleaned up, and I do not see that piece anywhere. So I think that the piece was just never in the bag, but that's okay. So yeah, that is how this puzzle went. I ended up looking it up, and I don't think it has a name really. It's just a Seiko Thomas Kincaid Princess and the Frog. I think that's basically the name. I couldn't find anything more specific. Maybe I missed it, but I wasn't seeing any more specific of a name. So hopefully with that information, you can find the puzzle. I'll try to have it linked if I can find it online. It is a beautiful image, of course, when you like take a step back and just look at it, but it just isn't my type of puzzle. One, again, I don't really like Seiko. And then, especially if you follow me on Instagram or TikTok, you've seen that I've posted, I just don't like painted landscapes. It's just the texture of a painting plus just a whole bunch of greenery and sky and water. It's just not my personal taste. So that's why it's not really my favorite. Also, the other reason I'm not a big fan of Thomas Kincaid puzzles, because I feel like it's like 90% landscape and like 10% characters when it's these like Disney puzzles. And I would rather it be like 90% characters and like 10% extra stuff, but again, that's just personal preference. Then once I finished doing this, I went straight back into working on that Krypt puzzle. So my brain was tired, but I got it done. I got that Krypt puzzle done. Y'all have already seen that. And yeah, that's what I have for you this week. Next week, you're going to see this puzzle that's underneath my board here. It's a 1000 piece. I've been working on it for a little bit, but I think I'll be finishing it up soon. So y'all see that next. Until then, like this video if you like this video. Make sure that you are subscribed to my channel. And let me know down in the comments, do missing pieces bother you? Honestly, it doesn't really irritate me too much. Of course, I would have liked it to be complete, but I just took my pictures, got ready to post this video, and that's that. I know some people, it really bothers them. So I'm curious, does it bother you, or are you kind of like me and it doesn't really matter? Once you're done talking to me over here, make sure you head to Instagram and TikTok. Follow me on both of those platforms. All three of these situations, YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram, get different things. So make sure you're following me on all three so you can see everything that I'm up to. Thank you guys so much for watching. We also just hit 700 subscribers, which is amazing. Thank you so, so much. Make sure you like this video and subscribe, and I will see you in my next video.